Cardiac canes may kill me before they win a natty.
Look, they talk about that with Mark Light Magic for the baseball team. The basketball team has had some close calls, and apparently the football team wants to get in on that as well. So just continue to be heart healthy, move your body. You know, if you have to take any kind of medication, be sure you do that because we don't want anything bad to befall. But and hopefully we'll learn from this, and it won't be many more close games of that ilk.
Falconer, we so much appreciate you. Fans and students showed up, stayed, and loved it.
Yeah, it was a pretty packed house. I know some people are saying, "Oh, it looked like it was only 20,000 people at Hard Rock Stadium on Friday night." I would urge you to go to your local Warby Parker or whomever. You can go get your eyes checked if that's what you saw. But yeah, Miami fans are always there and passionate, especially for good games like that. I'm sure there were some people who might have even just scalped some tickets. In the first, second quarter, and be like, hey, let's go over to the stadium, or, like Miami Gardens is right by Miramar, Pembroke Pines. There's people who could, make their way. I mean, North Miami is right there as well, make their way over. But, when it came time to have an impact on the game, that place gets loud, man. And like I said, no 3-and-outs all game long until you absolutely had to have one in the fourth quarter. And I credit the fans for being there. And like, you could feel the building start to shake, man. Like, yeah, it was intense.
Knox Kane 94 with this one. We appreciate you, Knox Kane. Glad we got the win, but thought our coaches finally turned the page. First 4 games passed because teams stacked the box. Virginia Tech's best players are the secondary. They gave up tons of yards on the ground, and we all game try to pass.
Well, let me go look. Miami ran for 31 yards in the first quarter, but threw for 176 because Cam was dealing. Second quarter, burn it with fire, like in its entirety. Like the only thing that saved that quarter was that long Borregales field goal. Shout out to him at the gun there. But 7 called runs for 1 yard. Yikes. But the second half, 10 carries for 89 in the third, 8 carries for 44 in the fourth. So it got going, and I mean, yeah, 10 for 89 is 9 yards, 8.9, but 9 yards a carry, basically, So yeah, it did. I think that we had to lean on the running game a little bit, and including Cam Ward in, some escape drills on that. But those were the called runs in there, and you started to have success with them. Which I thought was needed, and for a good time there, and I was talking about in the press box. I didn't want to be hyperbolic and put it out there. Hold on one second. But after Cam was, let me look at the passing. After 8 for 11, like he's 10 for his next 20 with 2 picks and less than 100 yards. And there was a play when he reminded me very much, like on this play, he looked like a freshman because we call it, it's open, and he sees it, and he starts his motion. He goes, whoa, and double clutched it because he was seeing ghosts. You know what I mean? Like he was very, for that, I mean, again, that's 20 throws in the middle of the game. Like Cam was not, it was no bueno. And with that, then it's just like, hey, if he's not cooking or even really being, I mean, he was playable, but barely serviceable. We got to run this ball. And credit to the team, they found ways to do that. Now, I did have a couple people comment to me on social media and also on the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly that they would like to see more Jordan Lyle, maybe more Chris Johnson Jr., some toss plays, some stretch, some outside runs, not continue to try to just bludgeon people inside, because when you put 7, 8 guys in the box, like even with a big and physical offensive line, like they just kind of have the numbers. So why don't we try to get to the edges a little bit more? I think that could be a thing that we could go to a little bit. I think, still, even in that kind of a game, Miami really didn't show much. Like we kind of stayed vanilla. You had the one play action touchdown on 3rd and 1, the beautiful play fake over the top to Elijah Arroyo and everything. But hey, even 4th in the ball game, we went to that return route again to Xavier Restrepo that had burned. That's the route that burned Florida, if you remember that, where he went to the sideline and returned, and then he spun and tore Asa Turner's knee, and like so that. And I'm not going to go through all the other times. Y'all can watch it, and I'm sure. I mean, and the video's out there because the games are on television. But I've given you the first game and the fifth game, this route concept to that player being a thing. So we really stayed with our staples, but we did get to going in the run game. I do, and it's something I meant to put in the good, bad, and the ugly, but then like I was just talking to so many people since the game was actually close, and I refused to be the last person in the press box anymore. So like when the last crew was leaving, I was like, okay, we're going to pack that up and finish that when we get home. And I forgot it in the travel from Miami Gardens back up here to Fort Lauderdale. Chris Johnson Jr. is dangerously becoming like Devin Hester. And what I mean by that is remember when Larry Coker before that Sugar Bowl was like, hey, Devin Hester's going to play offense and we're going to try to get him this many touches and like da-da-da-da. And LSU was like, cool, thanks for the scheme. We're just going to like, target him now and not let him do anything that you've told us this is what you're going to do. It feels that way with Chris Johnson Jr. Anytime he comes on the field, it's like, just look at 24. Like whatever it is he's running, that's where the ball's going to go. It's if you're running the diamond formation, like, it's, 5 wide, solo receiver on one side, diamond over here, and he's the back of the diamond. It's going to be a quick screen. When he's running the jet motion wheel up the sideline, like whatever he does, he comes in for one play, and it's like, cool, we're going to give you this because, like, this is the new shiny toy. He's the fastest guy on the roster. Boom. But I'm like, if you maybe leave him out there for a couple of plays, then you might have the ability for some of those things to actually hit, because once he comes in for one play, you're just like, hey, it's going to him. And that curtails some of his effectiveness. Also, as well, in addition, on that last field goal drive in the first half, the last thing I will say, Chris Johnson Jr. was literally one step from taking that to the house. And that was a great play by the Virginia Tech defender, because if they don't get him, I think he caught his knee and then it slid down and he got him by the shoe. But man, he was that's close. But it's going to happen. I just want to see maybe a little bit more connection to the offense, and it's less like flashing neon lights, special play, special play, special play, fast guy, fast guy, fast guy, which is what I feel like his utilization is at the present.
Knox K94, and that last timeout by Mario.
And that last timeout by Mario. Give me a second. Game on paper. Let me go back to last week. I got to maybe put it in the chat, refresh my memory as to what you're referring. I'm going to try to go through the play-by-play really quickly if this site loads. I'm drawing a blank.
So Miami took a timeout right before the Hail Mary pass.
Timeout Virginia Tech, timeout Miami. Yes. If you have the opportunity to be sure that you have the defense that you want to have, and everyone has their last instructions for, performance on that play, you take it. I'm not mad at that last timeout at all. Remembering last year, times when we called those timeouts, Lance Guidry dials up the perfect play. Remember the Clemson game. Remember the Texas A&M game. Remember these other times when, hey, on defense, we call a timeout, we figure it out, boom. I don't have any problem with it. I would have had a problem if there's even a scintilla of uncertainty with anybody in that huddle during the Virginia Tech timeout. They just say, for optics to the fans, I'm not going to call another timeout. Y'all got it. You might not be comfortable with everything that we said, but go out there and do that. For who? For what? Right? You get NFL teams do it, college teams do it. Look, come off the sideline, see what the formation, see what the alignment is, see who the personnel are. If they have a special player out there, if they're the freshman All-American, Nick Harbor last year, right? Doesn't do much, but he's 6'6", 252 pounds, runs 23 miles an hour, and can jump, high jump 7 feet. Timeout. Let's be sure that we have adjusted for him on, you know what I mean? No, I don't feel bad about that last timeout at all. I would rather you take that timeout, especially take it, use it, and be sure that you are in the position for your team that you need to be in. If Miami had taken early timeouts in the third quarter and did not have the opportunity to take their own timeout if they needed before that final play, then I would be mad at it. But using it there to ensure that you have everything set the way that you wanted, no issues, none, zero.
Appreciate you being here, Leroy. We've got the ACC owes us 2 more calls to make up for the safeties last year. So we 1 for 3 on bad calls from last year.
I agree. Also, incidentally, the referee from Friday night's game was the same referee at Duke in 2015 for the return. And he got both of those calls right.
Now, when Leroy refers to the 2 calls from last year, are we talking the Georgia Tech, Donald Chaney knee, and what?
No, there were safeties in the Clemson game in Florida State that were not called.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I got you.
He was talking about those. So honestly, 1 for 4, because you got Donald Chaney bad went against us, and then the 2 safeties in those 2 games that were abundantly clear but uncalled. Yeah.
Falconer, that's Beamer ball, cheater ball.
Hey, man, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So whatever. I guess Miami needs to find ways to cheat.